In this video, we'll briefly introduce the concept of personality assessments, discussing the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, as well as a common projective test that's used in personality assessment. Most objective personality assessments use self-report, often in the form of a Likert scale. So there's a sliding scale to each question. This assumes that the individual is going to give honest answers with questions such as, for personality assessment, might be, I am easygoing, I have high standards, I enjoy time alone. So this sliding scale here goes from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Often in the social sciences, we attribute a number to this sliding scale, with maybe 1 being strongly disagree to 5 being strongly agree. That allows us to assume that this is an interval level of measurement, and we can do specific types of statistics with that. So to get around the fact that there are some things that people aren't fully honest about and want to hide, valid and reliable scales often have questions built in to prevent false reporting from affecting the outcome. And so whereas most questions might be 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree, others we might have to do what's called reverse coding, and that strongly disagree would get a 5 rating and strongly agree would get a 1. The Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, or MMPI, was first created to diagnose psychological disorders, but is now used in a wide range of settings. It was first developed in 1943, then it was revised in 1989, and again in 2008. It gives scores on 10 scales for hypochondriasis, depression, hysteria, psychopathic deviance or social deviance, masculinity versus femininity, paranoia, psychasthenia, which is obsessive compulsive qualities, schizophrenia, hypomania, and social introversion. So it was really, like I said, originally meant to diagnose psychological disorders, but it's now used for personality assessments and in a wide range of settings. Now we want these personality assessments to be valid and reliable. So valid meaning that it's testing what it's meant to test. It's assessing these different areas of emphasis, and reliable meaning that if this test was to be given again without some sort of intervention or class or something like that, that you would get the same response time and time again. Now projective tests are typically ambiguous, so like a series of ambiguous cards, the patient's asked to project their feelings and their thoughts onto that card. There is sometimes some standardization, although there's a lot of subjectivity in them as well. Now, one of the most common projective tests is the Rorschach inkblot test, and many of you are probably familiar with those. So there's 10 cards that are used to assess an individual's personality. And when Rorschach first developed it, he actually did do a whole bunch of testing and tried to standardize it, and had, took all of his data and came up with, okay, if they say this, this is what this means. And if they say this, this is what this means. And he had data to support that. But it got out into the public, and it's been misused a lot by a lot of people. And so it's not really considered standard and reliable for the most part at this time.